They just released the trailer for the new Mean Girls reboot 2 decades after the original, which me and Dane agree it's a cinematic masterpiece.
Truly.
You can't do it again, especially not in this day and age. And it's not exactly a reboot, it's an adaptation of the Broadway musical. And I don't like musicals, so that's already docking points. But the entire thing is just a complete bastardization of everything that people loved about the original Mean Girls. And it's like, who wasn't race swapped or made fat or mid?
Yep.
It's just offensive,
I think,
at this point to the audience.
And you know it's on purpose.
I think the mid-inning is
the mid-inning.
Yeah, is
they
the
made
most...
Regina George mid. They made Katie Heron mid. And that's especially weird considering that the catalyst for her entire character arc is her showing up to public school, not realizing that she's hot, and then weaponizing it and becoming a bad person by using her beauty. So like
literally the plot.
That's literally the plot.
The plot of the movie.
Which
it's
is
like, you're
also
hot and you're good at math. Why?
It's also incredibly honest about the female condition, which Hollywood is not capable of making stories about now.
No.
They also name check slut shaming in the trailer, and they said it in the modern day, so they're making TikToks.
Listen, I mean this, what I'm about to say. There's Breaking Bad, there's Puss in Boots, and there's Mean Girls. And that is the only art that has been conceived in the 21st century outside of video games. Don't touch it. Like, truly, like, when they, I don't know, when they ruin Disney movies, doing their whole Yas Queen thing, you know what? I ain't 5. I don't care, truly. I'm just here for a good time. But this I take offense to, truly. I took my friends to watch Mean Girls, and all of them were like, bro, really? And then they all watched it. Everyone's a fan. Everyone's a fan. Film snobs are fans. This is truly one of the greatest movies to come out this century. Don't touch it. Everything from beginning to end, character selection, tone, jokes. On the 38, God made the Remington rifle. I mean, like, it was... the third day. Anyway, it was great.
Yeah.
And I don't...
It's American greatness.
But that's the point, right? Like you said it beforehand. You said this is Marxist bullshit designed to destroy America.
I mean, I don't remember saying that, but sure.
Yeah. Right?
I said it's like a Marxist cultural revolution.
It is.
Yeah.
There we go.
They made Janice fat and mid, and they race swapped her. They race swapped Damien because let's just throw another race swap in there. They race swapped Karen, who was played by Amanda Seyfried. They made Regina George fat, even though part of the plot is that she becomes fat.
Yeah.
By a ploy.
I wouldn't say she's fat. I'd say she's plump.
Well, she became fat by the standards of 2004, which were obviously much different than the current day. But in this, it just seems like she's fat the entire movie.
I don't know about that,
but that was weird. They also made Aaron mid.
But the thing is, so Tina Fey's in this, right? Yeah. And she's leading the readaptation of it.
Yeah.
She looks exactly the same.
True, which is weird. But she wasn't the old one. Yeah. And surely she must know that that's a movie that will last time.
The solace you can take in this is that this will mean nothing to nobody. Nobody will care about this. This will die on.
Well, they want it to be like, let's make the next Barbie, like something that is pink and shiny and appeals to women, and that's not what this is.
No, it's designed to the snark and the modernity of it's the modernity of it all. It's just
like I don't want to see Mean Girls set in 2024.
Yeah,
and it wasn't this long ago.
2004, like, right?
Why do we gotta
like less than 20
19
years ago?
years? Damn,
19
years.
Do you think they're gonna get rid of the Coach Carr subplot?
Wait, does that means that when
I think so.
So that means that Lindsay Lohan was. I think Lindsay Lohan. Because me and her have the same birthday, and I think the same birth year. So she would have been under 18 when they made that movie.
Was she?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would assume that most of the other characters were played by adults.
Usually they're played by adults, right? So maybe that's why it felt so real, because it was actual evil, mean teenage girls.
If you had sex, you'll get a disease. And you'll die.
And I really do believe, like you guys were like, off air, they were a little bit shocked at how little I seem to care about this because,
you don't like.
I don't have strong
chick
feelings
flicks.
on.
Have
the
you
movie.
seen it?
Yes, but I don't have strong feelings on it one way or the other. I do, however, agree with you that the casting decisions are absolutely on purpose. The desire to make everything ugly, just not even just ugly, but like. The idea is that they make everything just a bit uglier.
Is this a chick flick?
So
though?
you don't notice, or you're crazy for pointing it
Yes.
out.
So if they just pick a bunch of disfigured people,
Right.
That makes.
Because look, Angori Rice, who plays Katie, she is not. I'm not calling her ugly. I mean, I'm not even necessarily calling her mid. She's a pretty girl. She's an actor. Of course, she has to be better looking than average. But she's not Lindsay Lohan in 2004.
Yeah.
And Renee Rapp, who plays Regina George in the Broadway musical, that makes sense that you would bring her on to the live action movie. But she is not Rachel McAdams in 2004.
Yeah.
And I'm not crazy for pointing that out, you know?
No, they want you to feel as if you're the bad person for pointing out that this is very clearly intentional.
So the thing about Mean Girls, and I disagree that it's a chick flick because I think that why Mean Girls really hits like critical mass, it's because it's the perfect rendition of kind of like the high school dynamics, the cliques that formed. All the cliques that are forming happened in real life. They were in my school, they were in my friend's school.
Did you have a hot Asian clique in your high school?
Not a lot of
This is why
Asians in Puerto Rico.
I was disallowed from the discussion about hot women being good at math because I said to Dane, I dated a hot woman who was good at math.
To which I had to ask, was she Asian?
And I said yes.
And he concurred.
To the point. But here's the thing. We talked about cliques recently, and I pointed out to somebody, like, I don't remember what episode it was, but I said, like, I never experienced or noticed any such thing as, like, what modern people, like what they would have called bullying when I was in high school, but I was also very distracted with skating and my own thing. I didn't hang out with people that I went to high school with, right? So, but then like there was comments like that were in the bottom like, no, these types of cliques, this type of bullying are cliques were a thing,
Dude,
but
100%.
bullying
At
wasn't
least
a
in the
thing for me.
2000s, and
Yeah.
people
But it
don't
is.
often
It
know
is a
this,
thing.
but the Mean Girls original movie was based on, I think, a parenting book that described all of these different cliques and social orders and the hierarchies in detail for parents to understand, like, what is your daughter going through in high school?
And
That is something that existed before decades of kids getting assaulted with anti-bullying propaganda.
Yeah.
And those those social hierarchies either don't exist or they have been extremely, I don't know, they're not the same as they used to be. So you can't portray them in the current day as if they are the same.
And there's so many things they touch on subtly. Like, for example, some of the Mean Girls don't have a good relationship with their parents.
I mean, that was
know
a
what I
pretty
mean?
big- that
Like-
was a
Oh yeah,
pretty big
Regina
staple.
George is a toxic see you next Tuesday because her father is a passive beta male. Can we address that in 2024?
No.
Not really.
I don't know. The fights they have are fights that you would see in real life. And so my thing with this is that, okay, so there's merit to this if they adapt it to, I guess, Zoomer or current high school kids' problems.
Wait, so is the idea here that they'll like to bully them, they'll share each other's like OnlyFans, and then
Maybe. Oh my God.
Well, like, remember the scene where they cut out the boobs of like Regina George's tank top and
No.
her bra is showing and she walks out and then everyone starts cutting their shirts up
I don't remember.
to like imitate her. They like switched that so that like they
like a
sprayed a
selfie?
sprinkler on her and her mascara started running, so everyone started making TikToks with running mascara. That's like how they're trying to translate this for modern Gen Z audiences.
Mhm.
I just don't understand I think Gen Z likes Mean Girls how it was, even if they didn't experience that firsthand.
I truly think it's a classic that you can show it 30 years from now and someone will get something from it
because it's honest.
because something that I always talk about is like in games and movies and everything, in social dynamics, people belong to archetypes.
Yeah.
And this movie rings true because the rendition of archetypes, it's so
Honest.
honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that generation of movies did 10 Things I Hate About You, Not Another Teen Movie. They all did those archetypes very well because they were less scared about what they were supposed to mean on a grander scale, right? There wasn't as much pushback. And of course, 10 Things I Hate About, I'm sorry, but Not Another Teen Movie was a satire of so many of them. But one of the big tropes of those movies was like, it felt like the case du jour from Hollywood was that the parents are mostly absent or ineffectual, and the kids are kind of the product of Gen X, you know, what Phil would call, what is it, latchkey kids, right? Like the
What's
idea
that?
that they're just left to their own devices, right? Come home when the street lights come on. And in that time period, a big part of it was these kids are raising each other because their parents are at work all the time. And those archetypes are very, very prevalent in these movies because they weren't afraid to show you what it was actually like. The geeks were the geeks, the jocks were the jocks, the cool girls were mean, and the nerdy girls were I don't like what would you.
Well, now that we live in like the age of the tyranny of feminism, you can't honestly show women hating each other in a movie. And that was what's so appealing about
honest.
Mean Girls is the honesty of that, showing women just hating each other's guts.
It is one of
and
the
sabotaging each other.
It is one of the quickest things that I point out when I watch a movie and television show and I see a bunch of women getting along. I'm like, give it 10 minutes. If they're still getting along perfectly and like to like an elevated extent, right? They keep like complimenting each other and, oh my gosh, you're so great. Like that's not even how normal people act in the real world. Not just women, men don't do that shit either. That's weird. Like the way they portray women now has to be some type of Instagram sloganeering of how they imagine women treat each other online. It's why I say that the least honest place you'll ever be is like a female influencer's comment section where a bunch of women say like, oh my gosh, you're so great.
Whereas in Mean Girls, it's Regina George saying to Katie, you're like really pretty. And Katie says, thank you. And she's like, so you agree? You think you're really pretty? Like that is the 2004 equivalent.
And just notice how much, I don't know, like analysis and conversation came from this topic. It's because it is profound in its simplicity.
Yeah.
The movie. And
it's almost like they try too hard nowadays. They try too hard to manufacture reality when actual reality is way more interesting.
And that's why maybe our hesitance is a little bit, you know, maybe it's unwarranted, maybe they nail it, but it's
they will
just,
not nail it. I can guarantee.
I know.
That. They will not nail it, ladies and gentlemen.
It's because they can't, because how do you improve on a 10? It's the perfect movie. It's the perfect. It has blood. It's funny. It's sad. Like the character has her lows. She learns her lesson. She realizes who she is. She leans on it. You know. I don't know.
It's not gonna go well, and then they're gonna wonder why nobody went to see it because it's not going.
I mean,
to
hopefully it does. Hopefully it goes well. You know, but
it won't go well.
No.
Well, thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.